Hello and welcome back to the model bench. So here is an update on my Nautilus build. As you can see, I've cleaned up a lot of parts. You know, there's a lot of kind of flash on the resin pieces, so I was able to clean them up and sand them and clean them and fill any little pops and holes and what have you. So on the actual bridge, I suppose it would be the bridge, this piece here, there's always a little gap, and the makers themselves have even acknowledged that there's always a gap between this and this. So I filled that here with a little bit of kind of styrene and painted it up. I'm pretty pleased with that. Once the final coat goes on that, it should disguise it a lot. So that's finished. This front hatch here, I added a little 3D wheel, and I also had to build a little what would you say, hinge here for it to open. So I just built that out of styrene, put a little styrene rod through it, and then I actually had little kind of hexagonal bolts to put on each end just to finish it off a little bit, and that still functions very nicely. Here we go. So that's looking good. I added the brass, just you get a length of brass rod, so you just have to bend that into shape to make the rungs of the ladder. So I've done that. The breathers I'm going to leave removable. So I don't know whether if you can see, but I just built in a little bit of detail going down these walls, down the stairs. So again, just a little piece of styrene, and I got these kind of styrene, they look like kind of mini girders kind of. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but they're going down, and then I just built the top up with styrene. So I'm really pleased with that. It looks really nice and kind of very accurate to the movie. This is my 3D, this whole section I bought on Shapeways. It's the 3D version. So obviously what I had to do was, I had to, on the original model, this piece is already on it. So I got rid of that, cut it off, sanded it off, added in the 3D part, making sure it lined up really nicely once this is glued into place, that it shuts okay. And again, you get all the fixtures. It's really nice. You get all the fixtures for the 3D hatch, and the little wheel and the whole lot, and that obviously opens as well. So really pleased with that. I added these two little rungs of the ladders here, because actually if you look at the reference from the movie, I'll put up an image now, you can actually see you can actually see a couple of them here. I've just added one. So I just thought, okay, I'll do that. Then I sanded off the original grading. Well, I didn't sand it off, I roughed it down a little bit, and I've added in these photo etch grading. So again, once this is all sprayed up, it should look really nice. Again, it just gives the detail a little bit more sharpness. So yeah, very pleased with how it's gone so far. Still obviously a lot of work to do. I'll have to install the motor for the propeller. Obviously, you know, start working out lights, because I obviously want 2 lights in here. I want in here lit up, and I also want the depth charge thing lit up, and also I've got 2 lights in the side wall. So that'll be a lot of lighting. And then I am going to, for the front, the rod that fits in there, Bob Martin from the Nautilus Dry Docks has a really nice video showing how you can have, when the rod's removed, it allows the top to come apart, and obviously when the rod's inserted, it keeps everything together. So in order to do that though, what I will have to do is, I wasn't going to, but I think I'm going to have to, just to accommodate the lighting. What you have to do is cut this lower part off, glue it to the top part, then glue the window into that. Then down here you just do a cut across here on the top, so that way from here back and up can be lifted off to access, you know, the inside and batteries and what have you, and then it can just stick back in, and then the rod goes in here, and that will keep everything in place. I also just think it would be it would make a lot more sense, and it'll be a lot easier then for me to do the lighting here, to have kind of all the lighting done and then to fit it into place, because obviously it'd be very difficult to kind of glue this all into place and then try and install the lighting and hide the wires and what have you. So I think it is my only option. I've also added in the screw underneath here, and again that's a 3D part, really sharp, really nice detail. And then I just added in the lower hatch here with the little 3D printed wheel. So yeah, going really well. I've also painted up the 3D printed ship's wheel. I'm really pleased with that. Again, I might give that a little bit of a kind of dry brush just to darken it down a little bit, but I just think that looks fabulous. Really crisp detail, looks amazing. And that'll obviously be viewed through here, and I just think, you know, to have that as a really nice part, you know, a really fine detail part, it just makes sense, you know, because you really are going to see it in there. So again, I just got that on Shapeways. So yeah, going really well, chipping away at it, as I say. There's my salon. I'll see if I can get this temporarily working. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. Again, these are just the lighting. So very pleased with that. Again, I just got some Google eyes, cut the kind of clear perspex off them, painted them over white, put the light in underneath, and it just softens the light a little bit. It's very difficult to see them, but it just softens the light a little bit, and I just think it gives that kind of nice downlit effect. I've put a map of the island just on one of the seats, you know. Nemo was obviously just checking out where he's going. So as I keep saying, this will really only be viewed through this hole here, you know, and you can kind of look at an angle just to see up and down. But I think there's enough detail in there that will just make it really pleasing. And then with the lighting and everything, I just think it looks, yeah, really pleased with that. So that is where I am at the moment, and we'll get on with some more. So a bit more work done, as you can see. I have the whole thing primed. Also, I did go ahead, I kind of bit the bullet, and I did separate this bottom half, just cut under here, glued it then to the top half, glued in the window, glued in my 3D window skylight, or the light in here. So, and then obviously I had to cut it here, so it just means that this whole section can lift off, and I think it's going to be making it a lot easier then to install the lights. The propeller does work. I have that working really nicely. I'll put a little video, I obviously have it masked off here now for the spraying, but I'll put a little video here showing exactly how it looks. Really pleased with the speed. Again, it works on the remote control, you know, and yeah, very happy with how that turned out. So I was able to, because I separated it here, I was able to glue this whole section together, so that's just one unit. Hatches are all lovely. I kept breaking off the little wheels that go on top here, so I'm literally going to leave them till the last minute. Same with the one underneath here. I just kept, every time I picked it up I broke it off, so just leaving them till the very last minute. Glued on all the little bits and pieces. I went with this configuration for here. You can see the ladder here, and then the one of the kind of you know, things you would tie the ship up with, because I'll put up an image here. As you can see, that's the way it is in the kind of close-up shots, but Then I see a lot of people putting this piece back here. So either, but because there's, you know, literally part of the film where and you can see this exactly as it is here, I decided to go with that. Yeah, that one works as well. Again, just have to add the little wheel on top in here. So yeah, really pleased with how it's gone together. As you can see, it's just one nice uniformed colour ready to start working on the main colour. I've drilled these holes here for the lights, and what I did was, these are my clear pieces that are going to go in those areas, and I see on a lot of models those pieces are actually kind of frosted over. So yeah, I got some cheap kind of frosting spray, sprayed them, and they look really nice, you know. So when the lights aren't on, they're going to kind of look that kind of frosted colour, and then obviously when the lights do come on, I'll make the lights nice and diffused. So they're all ready to go for the lights. In here, I'll just remove this here. Oops, I have all the insides done and the lights configured, ready to go. So again, that will all be done once once the main colour is finished being sprayed. So yeah, it's going together really nicely. It's going to take two hands to separate this, so I'll take that apart. Basically, the front ram comes out, and then that whole section lifts off. So I'll lift it off now and I'll show you the inside. So as you can see, that's the top lifted off. And you can see there I've put a bit of brass tubing here, and there's another bit of brass tubing under there. And obviously when the two halves go together, then they line up, and then the ram just goes in and keeps the whole thing together. That was a little tip I picked up from Bob Martin at Nautilus Dry Docks. Really useful YouTube channel if you're building the Nautilus. So there you can see my motor, and this was really tricky to do because it has to be obviously dead level, and you don't want it rocking, you don't want any kind of noise. So eventually I worked it out, got it all, you know, in the exact position. Use these kind of some old silicone molds as a kind of dampener, and then I just have the power wire going down here. So obviously once I put my battery in, it'll be connected up here, and then I'll run off my other electrics off that as well. But yeah, as I say, as you saw earlier, that just works really nicely, really nice speed, nice sound to it. So very pleased with that. As you saw from my previous video, or one of my previous videos, the salon is just ready to go in one unit. That will just sit in here. Oh yeah, and another thing I had to do was, I just have to be really careful, I don't want to damage anything. So as you can see there, that's the inside where the lights are going to go. So I just routed a little channel just to hide the wires, because obviously this has to slip down past this section when it comes together, so I didn't want any bulky wires there. So yeah, just did a little routering job there, so that once the lights go in those holes, the wires I can feed in and just, you know, glue them into place, and then that's still nice and smooth. It should then fit right over. As I said before, these are the 3D salon windows, and I'll just put a clear glass in behind that, and they look really nice. So yeah, it's all coming together really nicely. I think, you know, it shouldn't be too much longer. I'm probably going to give this a coat of I'm thinking I'm going to give it a coat of earth brown or flat earth, and then on top of that I'm going to do a kind of a coppery colour, coppery kind of gold colour, and then I'll start doing all the weathering and the rusting and all that. Really, you know, you can look at 5 different models, and every one of them will be a variation on kind of the rusty, browny, coppery, metallic-y gold colour. So, you know, I think just go with what you feel is right, you know, what pleases you, what feels right. I've seen some models and they just look too kind of metal-y steel colour. I think you're better off going for a warmer kind of goldy colour. Yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. A lot of stuff done, really happy. So we'll get on and do a bit more. So here is the first coat. As I say, this is Tamiya Flat Earth, and I've just done a dusting of Flat Earth all over it. I think that's a really nice base colour now to start off with. You can see some of the oxide red is still coming through, which is fine. So yeah, the uniform colour really ties everything together, I think. Brings out all the lovely little detail. So the next colour I'm going to try is Titan Gold. So I'm going to give it again another dusting of Titan Gold, and we will see how that looks. So I'll get on with that. Okay, so that is my gold, Titan Gold over the whole thing. Again, it just, you know, give it a nice misting of the gold all over. I'm really pleased with that finish. It's starting to get kind of that lovely aged metal look. So yeah, really nice. So the next thing I am going to do is just get NATO Black, Tamiya NATO Black, and I'm just going to spray just lightly all these panel lines. It is going to look very contrasty and kind of, wow, hold on, that's a bit over the top. But remember, on top of those panel lines then I will do another dusting of the colour, so the panel lines, they'll just retreat back and they'll just be fairly subtly done. But yeah, I'm just going to go into airbrush on all these little panel lines, just give them a hit of NATO Black. So that is my next process. Okay, let's get on with that. Here is all my paneling done. Now as you can see, it looks very over the top. Almost, you know, a lot of times you're kind of, oh god, I've gone too far, you know, I'm never going to pull it back. But don't panic, this is all good. All this is going to be sprayed over again. It's going to be practically covered, but all these panel lines will just subtly come through the final coat. So, you know, take your time. Just, you know, I just went and kind of did it fairly quickly, you know. And again, it's okay to kind of, you know, have it not perfect, because it's a huge, you know, underwater submarine. There's a lot of, you know, decay going on, a lot of, you know, it's not like it's not like you're painting a Ferrari, you know. It's gnarly and rusty and it's gone through battles, you know. So just really, you know, really enjoy the process. As I say, when you get to this stage you might think, oh god, I've gone too far, but just hold fast. I promise once you put the finished coat over, it's going to look amazing. So I'll get on now with covering this, and I think I'm going to go with this colour, dark copper, Tamiya XF28, as my final coat. Yeah, we will see how that turns out. So last coat coming up. So there is my final dark copper coat, and as you can see, those black panel lines just completely blend in, completely fade down, which is what we want. Really happy with the result. It's kind of my first time doing this kind of weathering airbrush brushing, so I kind of was, you know, just chancing my arm and kind of seeing how I get on. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I think I'm going to leave it here for the moment with this set of videos, because obviously I want to go in and do all the weathering and little bits of rust and kind of, you know, runoffs and whatever, you know. But I think as a kind of starting area, or starting how would you say, canvas, I think that's pretty good. Very pleased with it. It's got that really nice coppery, you know, rusty kind of metally effect. And what I might do lastly, like when I do a few bits of rusting and all that kind of thing, I might dust the whole thing down with a black again, just as a finish off, and that again will just dial everything down. But as I say, as it stands, yeah, I'm really pleased, because I kind of did, when I saw those black panel lines, I went, ugh, it's starting to look like a zebra. But yeah, they just faded right down really nicely. Yeah, very pleased, really pleased. So that is where I'm going to leave it for now on this part. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've picked up some tips. In the next video I will obviously be getting into just doing a lot of weathering on this, and then we'll start to put the whole thing together, you know, the salon interior, the bridge interior, you know, all the lighting here, you know. So yeah, still lots to do, but I think I'll call it quits for now. And like I say, really, if you've made it this far, fair play, thanking you. And until the next time, please like and subscribe. And for now, take care. Talk to you soon.